All right, let's go out to Orko Mana, who's still in East Downtown, where that car was pulled out a few hours ago. Orko.
Yeah, Ron, we're still here right off of Navigation, which is the road that leads into the underpass heading toward Canal Street. And again, like we were showing you just about a half hour ago, the water is still very high in that underpass. When we first checked in with you, I said the water was around 2.5 inches, but it has, or excuse me, 2.5 feet, but it has continued to rain consistently since then. So we can only imagine that the water has risen from that level. You can see the gauge there, the flood gauge in the middle of the underpass that says, yeah, it's right around 2.5, maybe a little bit more feet of water here. And we have some video from about an hour and a half to 2 hours ago we want to show you of a vehicle that was stuck in the floodwater in that underpass. A blue sedan, you can see it here, was caught after the driver tried to drive through those floodwaters. Luckily, that driver was rescued. The vehicle was towed out of the underpass, and I spoke briefly with that gentleman who was in that vehicle, and he said that, you know, he wasn't ready to talk, but you can imagine just how scary a situation is like this when you're driving into 2.5, potentially more feet of water in a situation like this and getting your car stuck, how terrifying it could be. Back out here live, again, you can see that the floodwaters are still underneath the underpass, but if we zoom out a little bit, you can see that Houston Police and their mobility response unit have put a utility road work ahead sign, as well as a bunch of orange cones here to block anyone from driving through this road on Navigation to get under the underpass. And since we've been out here since these cones were put in place, we have not seen any cars attempt to get through because, again, nobody wants to get stuck in that kind of water. And this is a good reminder to folks as they're driving along Franklin, which is where we are, where Franklin and Navigation split, and they're not coming in this way. And what's also helping, in addition to these cones, is that Houston Police still has their mobility response unit here. You can see this pickup truck here with its lights flashing, again, reminding folks, hey, this is not the place to drive through. I will say that even though there is not a whole lot of flooding on the main roads like the underpass, there is still some pooling in parts of Franklin on this side here where we can see some pooling on the water on the road here. So again, a little wet conditions here, not too terrible, but again, you can hydroplane easily if you drive through those areas, so you want to be very careful. Again, as I mentioned, not a whole lot of cars driving through because all of these cones and Houston Police are in place. We have seen plenty of cars drive along Franklin, and for the most part, they've been pretty slow, which is really good. You definitely don't want to drive fast in these conditions. So at this point, again, nobody has been driving through this underpass. We have noticed some fire vehicles and some emergency vehicles drive through the East Downtown area responding to emergency calls. There's a lot of that happening right now just given the conditions. But again, right here where we are at this underpass off Navigation heading toward Canal Street, more than 2.5 feet of water in that underpass, but no drivers going through at this point, which is great news. Guys, back to you.
Yeah, Orko, it looks like those cones and signs are working. Now, where you are you seeing a lot of rain or lightning or strong winds, or are things pretty steady where you are?
Things are pretty steady, Ugochi. I would say the rain is still consistently falling. It's maybe picked up a hair since we last spoke with you about half an hour ago, but no lightning from my perspective here, and the wind is relatively calm, I would say. You can see the water, if you can see it through the camera lens, is dropping pretty straight down. So not a whole lot of wind, just consistent rain, which again is adding to the water totals in that underpass and other places that are flood prone in this area.
Thank you, Orko, staying on top of it. Stay safe out there.